Welcome to You Can Call Me Goddess because you're so much more than a queen. My name is Manouk Vink. I am a trained intuitive energy healer specialized in transforming your body and your life. In this podcast, we are going to be diving into everything to unlock the goddess that you are within you. Think of it as the ultimate glow up from the inside out. It's time to unlock your power. It's time to unlock your magic. So sit back and enjoy the show. Hi guys, and welcome back to another You Can Call Me Goddess podcast. And in today's podcast, we are going to talk about how your thoughts literally dictate everything around you and how you're shifting your thoughts and your belief systems is literally going to change your entire life. So a lot of the time we've probably been told like, oh, it's just a thought. It's not going to do any harm, right? And let's unpack that a little bit, because when you truly think about it, basically, if you've listened to my podcast already a little bit, and we've discussed a little bit like reflections, your creator field, how everything interacts with what you're broadcasting out to the universe, what you're broadcasting out to everybody around you, this actually couldn't be further from the truth. Your thoughts are literally going to change everything around you. It's literally going to change all matter around you, all circumstances around you, the way people behave, and even how your body looks. And how your body acts, and even sickness and disease. And we're going to dive into some of this today, probably going to do more episodes on specific applications of this, but today, we're going to talk about it on a grander scale and how exactly this works and why it is so important to start understanding this. Because I'm sure, I don't know, if you're listening to this and you've probably, most likely, I don't know, if you're pulled in by the podcast that I'm doing lately and you want to know more about, creating your dream life, creating your dream body, then I don't know about you, but I have in the past heard there's a specific portal and in the, astrology. And so I went down and I manifested everything and I wrote down and I made a list of everything that I want to change in my life, right? Want to change it and then put it on a note and then hit it. And then that was it. And then I was like, why is it not working? Well, I'm going to give you one of the key things why your manifestations aren't working. Because a lot of the time, you're not changing your thought patterns. You're not changing the way you're programmed. And the thing with that is that you literally are already manifesting everything around you. And I think we've spoken about this before already a little bit, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you're doing that. So without you knowing it, you're already creating every single thing around you. And that is seriously by the thought patterns and belief systems that you have ingrained within you. So what we do in my programs and also coaching and stuff, we reprogram these neural pathways. And you reprogram these neural pathways by simply shifting your belief systems in different ways, depending on what is going on in your life, what is blocking you to achieving everything that you desire in your life. And literally anybody can do this. But the reason you're feeling stuck or you're not moving forward, let's say in financial, in your career, in your relationship, in your fitness journey, in your health, in your social situations, if you feel like you're feeling stuck right now, it's because you're holding on to old belief systems and patterns that you haven't been able to shift yet. And the only reason you haven't been able to shift them yet is because you haven't had the right tools or the right understanding to be able to shift these patterns. And the thing is, everybody is capable of doing this because everybody is capable of changing their thought processes and changing their belief systems. So how it basically works, when you have a thought, right, you start having that thought over and over again, you link it to a situation, circumstance that you've had before. So like a limiting belief. So for example, if I'm going in and I'm going to present my webinar, I'm just giving you an example. I'm going in and I'm presenting my webinar and I have a memory of standing up in class when I was younger and someone laughed at me. right? So that memory pops up. So that belief system of like, I'm not good enough, I'm not good at public speaking, I'm not good at presenting, starts taking action. In that moment, because I have that belief system, because I have that thought, I go in and I immediately, my energy starts shouting out to the people watching me that I doubt myself, right? Because they see that, they can read that in my energy. And I'm sure you've picked up on other people's energy when they're starting to doubt themselves, when they're not feeling confident in what they're doing, because you can read basically what they're thinking and their belief systems. Not only do you start reading that energy, maybe subconsciously, and you're not actually realizing that you're reading that energy, but at the same time, when you're the person, so me, for example, take me, and that's my example, and I link it to a memory of me failing in front of other people. And so now I'm showing up in front of a group of people. I'm going to host this webinar, but this memory, this limiting belief that I believe about myself, that I'm not good at public speaking and that I'm not good enough at this, and people are going to laugh at me, and what I say holds no value. Like there's all these limiting beliefs. Do you hear all the limiting beliefs that I've linked to this moment? Will start broadcasting out, right? That will start broadcasting out. Not only will that start broadcasting out and subconsciously people are picking up on that, but also my body will start reacting to the thought. I will start sweating. I will start stuttering. I will start struggling to get my words out because I have this belief system and my body is immediately responding to the emotion and to the limiting belief and the thoughts that I am having in that moment. Excuse my dog, by the way, that you heard him in between. He's just confirming what I'm saying right now. So can you see how literally in that moment that's happening? I mean, take for example, you're going on a date. Let's take it to another level. You're going on a date. You've had terrible situations, circumstances with guys in the past, right? You have these belief systems that nothing ever works out in your mind. You believe it. You're thinking it. All guys are trash. Nothing ever works out. They're probably not going to like me. This is probably not going to go anywhere. You have these belief systems and you're literally creating those circumstances when you keep focusing on these things. So without you knowing it, you are manifesting literally those things happening. I don't want to scare you because I can already hear you guys thinking like, oh my God, so I can't think these things anymore. I can't like, oh my God, like I'm like literally destroying everything. No, I don't want you to look at it like that. What I want you to look at, I want you to realize is that I want to touch this thing in you that you are already creating. You are already manifesting. You just haven't had the right tools to manifest what you desire. So start seeing this as a very empowering thing, that your thoughts and your belief systems are manifesting everything around you. So I don't know if we've spoken about this before, but when you think, for example, of Murphy's Law, the moment you wake up and you stub your toe, right? You stub your toe first thing in the morning. Next thing, you drop your coffee. In that moment, you're like, oh, it's going to be one of these days, isn't it? You've programmed this day to be one of those days in that moment because now you've created your creator field to attract all situations, circumstances to make it one of those days. This is just for me to show you your creator power. And when you can start understanding that your thoughts and your belief systems have total control over everything around you, that means you have full control over how everything around you shifts and changes, right? Your energy dictates how things around you move and how people interact with you because they read your energy. Everything is a push and pull of energies. Energies communicating. When you feel someone walking behind you, you can feel them walking behind you without even looking because you can feel their energy, right? When you meet someone the first time and you can already pick up if you're gonna like the person or not, or you're gonna have an instant reaction to their energy without you even saying anything. And that is their creator field broadcasting out who they are, their energetic field broadcasting out who they are and their belief systems. So taking it back to the manifestation thing, right? When you want to manifest something into your life and you literally write it on a piece of paper, and you kind of like pray and do the whole manifestation routine and put it under your pillow, sleep on it, all of this stuff, parts of that could work because you're subconsciously programming into your system that these things are inevitable for you, right? But the problem is that these things don't often hold because you aren't living, breathing that belief system. So that is where your thoughts and belief systems have such a massive impact on how things, situations, and circumstances react with you and how you create things around you. So when you can start shifting these belief systems, you can start creating the opposite of what you're creating now, if that's what you want, right? So if you're creating, if you start focusing on the fact that nothing is working out for you, what you basically do is you're linking situations and circumstances and moments in your life where nothing has worked out to you, for you, to that one moment that's happening. So for example, you're going into a job interview. You're already telling yourself nothing ever works out for me. So you are now in that moment where you're subconsciously believing this, right? You're subconsciously linking that belief to moments in your life where nothing has worked out for you. So for example, another job that fell through, a relationship that ended, you lost money, so you're going to link, and then it's going to come from one initial happening in your life where you created that limiting belief system, right? And every single time something doesn't work out, you keep piling on to that belief system until it becomes this core belief in your systems, right? I think I've mentioned this before. Inside Out 2 literally explains this in such a beautiful way. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. But it's literally so cool how Inside Out explains this. But basically, it becomes a core belief system about yourself. So how do we undo those core belief systems? You start finding proof of the opposite, right? You need to start reprogramming the opposite situation in your belief systems. And that's how you can start neurally reprogramming your belief systems. And one of the big key factors of this are your emotions. So that's why affirmations a lot of the time don't work. If you go into the mirror and you tell yourself, I'm amazing, I'm successful, and it doesn't hit anywhere, you don't save it. I'm thinking of the word, but I can only think of it in Dutch. You don't save it in your programming that's the truth. Because if you're telling yourself, I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful, and you keep repeating that to yourself in the mirror, it's going to hit the conscious brain, and the conscious brain and subconscious brain are going to be like, well, where's the proof? Like, I don't believe it. I mean, you're telling it to me, but I don't see any of the proof of why that is true. And that doesn't mean there isn't proof. You just haven't linked it to the proof in your life. So when you look at your limiting beliefs, they are so strong because you've linked it to emotional circumstances and situations. So it's been solidified, right? So where you failed, where you felt like you failed or nothing worked out for you, you felt emotional about it. You got upset. You maybe started crying. You maybe started screaming. So you really linked this belief into your system to make it a core belief in your system, because emotions literally have a 63% effect on your energetic field, on your electromagnetic field, your creator field, the field that everybody interacts with, that basically dictates how people interact with you and believe in you. And if you listen to some of the free content that I put out there, we dive into that, how that literally hands out scripts to everybody around you. So how they interact with you is based off of your creator field. How the universe responds to you is based off of your creator field. So your energy is broadcasting out a message and people picking up that message, and they are relaying back that message to you. So when And emotions have such a strong effect on your thoughts and belief systems, and therefore on your creator field. So if you're emotional about the fact that nothing ever works out for you, it becomes a core belief until you basically push it out of the way with the opposite. You basically knock that core belief out of the way with the opposite belief. And the only way to do that is to find proof of the opposite and emotionally connect to proof of the opposite, because the emotion inside the belief system is literally what is going to shift everything around you. That is what's going to solidify that belief system in your programming, in how you see yourself, and eventually in how people perceive you, because they're interacting with you. So I'm sure you know people that have like this confident aura around them, that have like this energy of like, I know exactly how this works. I have mastered. Okay, wait, let's think of not even people. Let's think of you. I want you to think about something that you know that you have mastered, and you have no question about the fact that you are good at the thing that you are doing, right? In that area. And because you've made it a core belief, and because you've linked it to belief systems and memories and proof of that being a true thing about you, and that's becoming a core belief about you, I want you to ask yourself, does anybody ever challenge you on that? Does anybody ever question if you're good at that one thing or not? I mean, we can go to another level because that could still be happening, but that's just showing you where there is another imbalance. But that's a topic for another day. That's going into reflections. But anyways, I think you can identify one thing that you know that you're solid at and nobody ever questioned you about. And you know that, people know that that's a core belief about yourself, because that's what you broadcast out. You broadcast out that confidence and that knowing that you are magnificent at that one thing. So therefore, it's programmed in your energetic field that people know this about you. And so this is literal proof of how that works. And now if you want to look at someone else in your life that carries their energy in the same way, it's a core belief that they've programmed in themselves, and that's how people start interacting. So if you don't believe that if this is the case, a way of you starting to recognize that this is the case is find one limiting belief that's popping up constantly in your life. If you can find one limiting belief that's constantly popping up in your life, and you can see how, and you can swap that and transform that and shift it into something else, the opposite belief, and you can start programming it by finding proof throughout the day of how the opposite is actually true, and you can start shifting that, and then you can start seeing how people start interacting with you. I mean, you're going to get proof that you are literally creating everything around you. You're literally creating every single thing around you, and you don't even know it. I mean, that is the same thing where, someone mentions they love this brand of, no, you're wanting to buy a pair of shoes that you've been thinking about, and before you decided you wanted to buy these shoes, you never saw them anywhere. And the moment you decide that you want to buy these shoes, you start seeing people with those shoes everywhere. Or for example, if you want to get a piercing, right? For example, you're thinking about getting a nose piercing, and before you never noticed anybody with a nose piercing, and now you start noticing everybody with that, or interacting with people that have it so that you can ask them questions. That is you literally creating those situations, circumstances around you, and dictating and manifesting those situations and circumstances around you. And you're just not noticing that you've created that. And that's the same with everything else. This world is an inside out world, and we try to approach it from the outside in by constantly trying to direct things and change things around us instead of realizing that you hold the power to shift everything from within by simply shifting your belief systems and your thoughts, right? And when you can start reprogramming your thought processes and start believing in yourself and start shifting the way that you see yourself by emotionally connecting to the opposite belief systems and by backing it up with proof and then continuously doing that until it becomes a core program, you can start changing absolutely everything in your life. And I'm sure if you have entered the manifestation world before, where like you have to see where this was one of the first things that I found with like financial abundance, for example, right? You have to start recognizing how financial abundance is all around you. That is literally a way of already doing that. When you can start, for example, seeing how you are already rich and you can link it to proof, you make it a core belief in your system. So you start attracting more of that into your life, right? So, and you can do that with literally everything. You can do that with literally everything. So even taking it to the body, right? When you take it to the body and you think of your thoughts and belief systems, your thoughts are so incredibly powerful. There was literally a study done. I heard about this study back when I was studying psychology, and I remember because it stuck with me so much because I was like, wow, that's crazy that that's possible. Our mind is so much more powerful than you can even fathom. So they did this study where they did like a control group who exercised, I think it was like a small muscle, like their finger or I don't know, a bicep, something like that, or both. I think they've done it with both, where they basically had one group actually train the muscle, right? And they had the other group visualize and truly believe that they were training the muscle. So they had to truly believe. So again, the emotional aspect of truly, truly believing it and honing in on that and really feeling as if they had done the same amount of exercises. They compared the groups, and the group that truly believed that they did the exercises grew their muscle by a significant amount, and they didn't do them. So here's the key. They didn't do the exercises. They simply believed, like at their core, that they had executed these exercises. That is literal proof that your mind can manipulate all matter. But it's about the intention and the belief behind it, right? The intention and the belief and the proof behind it. So it works the same for the body. The body is always communicating, and it's always linked to the brain and your thoughts. So in the example that I gave you in the beginning of this podcast, right? If you go, I literally have this. You make it high stakes and you go and you present in front of people and you're like, oh my God, I better do this well. I better do this well. All these limiting beliefs start popping up, right? All these, and you may not be aware of the limiting beliefs, but they're popping up right before. Like I did this when I was like going on stage and speaking in front of people, and I was like, all these limiting beliefs start popping up. And in that moment, your body reacts to those belief systems. You start sweating. You start getting tongue twisters. You choke up, right? So your body is literally responding exactly to the beliefs that you have. You instantly have a physical response to the thoughts that you are having. When you think of something delicious that you want to eat right now, you start getting I start getting like a hunger cue. You start salivating. That is how powerful your thoughts are. Your thoughts literally change things in an instance, right? If you can think of your favorite dessert right now. So for example, I made this, and it's one of my favorite and so terrible for you, but it's so good. Brownie bottom with Oreo layer, cheesecake middle, cookie dough top cake. It's so good. Like if you can envision that now, and that's something that you like, because some people are not sweet tooth because, I don't know, there's something wrong with them. But if you don't find that delicious, I don't know what's going on with you. But anyways, and you can envision that, then, and you start salivating and getting like kind of, sometimes you even get like a rumbly stomach. That is your body literally responding to the thought, to the visualization, to the belief systems that you have. And I mean, you could even like, let's see if we can make it into like a small, the more like into a small exercise. Like think of something low stakes and go in and do some like belief system work right before. Start telling yourself you're amazing at this and start backing up proof about how you're going to be amazing. So for example, I'm going to go do a hobby later on, a passion hobby later on. And I'm going to like, the moment I start questioning if I'm good at it, I start linking to the memories of how I failed, I'm going to go in and I'm going to fuck up, right? I'm going to fuck up immediately because that's what I've programmed myself to do. The moment you can link it to memories where you were amazing at learning a new skill, at doing something amazing, and you go in and you nail it, you literally like program that into your system by shifting your belief systems. So to make it like a little more full circle, this is a big key thing that manifestation and a lot of this spiritual world kind of doesn't dive into. Part of you achieving the things that you desire in your life is by taking action and shifting your core belief systems, reprogramming what you used to believe. If you are going to sit and write down your requests on a piece of paper and you don't believe that you can actually achieve that, right? And you think it's going to magically somehow appear into your life, then the energy work, the reprogramming work, the things, even if you struggle to believe that energy work is real, think of situations where this has happened. Like I've had it in, for example, job interviews where I was like not even stressed about the job interview. And I was like, I know I'm going to be able to choose which job I'm going to take. The moment you go in with that energy, that's how it pans out. The moment you start doubting that, and if it doesn't pan out like that, even though you're telling yourself that, that means somewhere there's still a limiting belief that you are holding on to that is stopping you from shifting into that is stopping you from achieving that one result, right? So this always applies, which means if you found somewhere where it didn't apply, I urge you to look deeper and see, okay, could I have thought differently somewhere in the back of my mind, right? And honestly, if you're like not accepting this or you can't see the truth in this, then probably your ego is stopping you from seeing the truth in that. And there is something to dive deeper into. And I just want you, because the thing is, I just want you to see how incredibly powerful you are with your thoughts and belief systems. And I want you to hone in on that superpower. I want you to realize that without you knowing it, you're already creating everything around you. And when you try to exert control over things by trying to manipulate the outside world, you actually are stepping away from control, because the control that you have comes from within, comes from your belief systems, comes from how you see things around you. So if you're feeling stuck in any area of life, it is because you are holding on, and there's nothing wrong with that, because it's not something that you can just shift. Unless you have the right tools, you can shift them like this. You haven't gotten the right tools to shift it like this, right? And I'm sure a lot of us, like a lot of you listening to this podcast right now is like, yeah, but Manouk, I've been doing all of this work already. Believe me, girl, I used to do this work so much, but I didn't have the right tools. I didn't have the right tools. And when I officially had the right tools, that's when everything started to change. I can literally link that to my fitness that literally popped in just now, to my fitness journey. I remember thinking, why is nothing shifting? I am doing everything. I'm watching my nutrition. I'm training multiple times a week. Why is nothing shifting? It has nothing to do with your ability to shift or not. It has to do with the tools and the knowledge that you are applying. That is what it has to do with. Because the moment I had the right knowledge and the right tools, and I started seeing why previous workouts and diets didn't work, and I applied the right tools, my body started changing like this, right? And the same thing goes with this. When you are feeling stuck, it just means that you don't have the right tools to shift out of it. If you keep feeling these limiting beliefs and you feel like you're doing the work on the limiting beliefs, you probably are doing the work on the limiting beliefs. There are so many avenues where you can still dive deeper, and probably there needs to just be a little more shifting, or you haven't used the right tools to fully get to the core of what you need to be shifting. And honestly, I remember doing this manifestation work and thinking, I don't know if any of this works, right? I was like thinking that. I was like, oh, I'll give it a try. So here I am, already programming into my field that this is probably not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyways. And in the meantime, I'm wondering why I didn't get like my dream home and 5 million in the bank already, 10 million, 100 million. But that's just because that's not how it works, right? It comes from the right tools and shifting the right things. And when I started applying the right tools, and literally it's like a muscle that you have to keep training. It's like a thing that you need to keep applying. It's a consistency thing where you keep applying this tool until you've shifted a belief system about yourself and you've shifted your thought patterns about certain situations and circumstances so that it's truly ingrained in who you are. When you can do that, and believe me, it's not going to change. Well, it's only going to change you for the better. It's going to up level you when you can start doing this. And if you feel like you want to hold on to a limiting belief, that is because you're trying to stay safe. Because for some reason, I hear you guys thinking, yeah, but I don't want to like change or anything like that. But you're going to change for the better. You're going to change. You're going to shift out of old patterns. And if you don't want to shift out of old patterns, it's because somehow you feel like those old patterns are keeping you safe, right? So when you have the right tools, everything around you will start to shift into the things that you desire. And that is because you have full control of everything around you. You have full control. You just haven't had the right tools to start shifting. You just haven't been able to apply the right tools because you didn't have them. You didn't know where to apply them. You didn't know how to apply them. And when you do, everything starts to change, like literally everything. Everything, your body, your finances, your relationships. I know because it's worked for me. I was training 5 times a week, 2 hours, watching my calories, watching my diet, but I wasn't working on my belief systems. I wasn't working on the thoughts. And I kept believing in limiting beliefs, and my body kept communicating to me that I hadn't worked through them. The moment I did, the weight started falling off. The same thing with my financial stuff, with my business. The moment I started shifting and believing and seeing my value and deprogramming and reprogramming, like limiting beliefs and reprogramming the positive belief systems and the value that I saw in myself, everything started to change. It was like day and night. And it had a ripple effect on everything else in my life. And so that's a podcast for another day. We're going to dive into how, yes, because actions and energy work, they come hand in hand. And in a next podcast, I think we're going to dive into how actions solidify the belief system and the energy work even more, because that is where the spiritual world sometimes gets confused, or the manifestation world, or anything to do with intuition and things like that. We often want to step away from the physical and the action, but the action needs to be taken. And in some areas, when it comes to achieving the results that you desire in your business, which we'll also discuss in a podcast and we discussed in webinars before, it's like when you're too much in the action, also the opposite happens. You're neglecting the energetic, so it doesn't mesh. So you need a combination of both of them. You need a balance of both of them. And then when you crack that code, the world is literally your oyster. Oyster? Am I saying that right? And you can start shifting your reality immediately. But you need to start realizing that the thoughts that you have a massive impact on everything around you. So if you're constantly focusing on the limiting beliefs that you have, if you're constantly focusing on how things are not working, then that is what you're going to start creating. You need to start seeing and believing that everything that you want is already there, and start shifting these belief systems that you have about yourself, and truly emotionally connecting, because that is one of the key factors to you shifting out of these limiting beliefs, because the limiting beliefs you're more rooted in because of the emotions. And the moment you emotionally connect to the other stuff, you become more rooted to them, and everything starts to shift and change. So that was my spiel for today. I hope you got a lot of value out of this podcast. And if you did, share it with someone who you think would get some value out of it. And would truly appreciate it if you leave a review so that we can get it out to more people. And also, I really want to hear from you guys what you want to hear more about. Is there a topic that I covered that you want to dive deeper into? Is there some topic that you want me to dive deeper into in another area? Reach out, comment below, send me an email. All my contact details are below in the show notes. Also, if you want to take things to the next level, there's a bunch of free content. And also, you can reach out if you want to take it to an even deeper level. I am here. You can reach me at info@Nouks, that's NOUKS, goddess, how you spell goddess, academy.com. And I will get back to you as soon as possible, and we can find how to get you up leveling faster. Start deprogramming and reprogramming those limiting beliefs to start creating your dream body, your dream life, to start stepping into the goddess that you already are. You just got to start seeing that you're already her. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to You Can Call Me Goddess. I am so happy that you joined us in this show today. If you feel like this podcast gave you any sort of life change or value, then share it with someone you think would also get a lot of value out of it, because maybe it could just be that one thing that changes that person's life. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a nice rating below or in the show, because we would love to expand more on topics that you enjoy and keep this podcast up and running. Anyways, thank you, beautiful, and I hope to see you in the next podcast.